Hey all, boardgamerants here where you'll find everything solo tabletop gaming and more. This is my take on Spirit Island. This is a game by R. Eric Brewis, published by Greater Than Games. It is a cooperative settler destruction strategy game. It's a mouthful. This is a solo perspective review. Please keep that in mind. Well, let's go have a look and I'm gonna let you know what I think about this one after we get back. All right, Spirit Island. Ooh, the island needs your help. No, it's not scary. I mean, look at it. It's colorful. It's a beautiful game, actually. And so here I am. I'm set up to play a one-player solo game. And you can choose. I've got one spirit, and I've got one island that I'm trying to protect. If you play more spirits, you can do that. And then you'll have to add another piece of land. And here's the pieces of land. You add just one more for each player. But in a solo fashion, this is a nice little small little footprint. And it's also a lot less thinky if you just play with one. So let's go over what you're trying to do here. Well, as this spirit, you were living in harmony on this island with the Dahan, which are these cute little mushroom fellas. Then and here's these little purple pieces represent your presence. So, you know, it's cool. All's going well. They're living off the fat of the land. They're doing it in a way that still allows the land to thrive, and you're living in harmony. But then these invaders come and they find this beautiful land. They're like, you know what? We're taking it over. And they build a city and they build this town. And then the first sign of blight, the land starts to suffer. And you ain't having none of it. So the game is basically your spirit gaining strength as it tries to chase off these invaders. And this particular spirit, and they're all very thematic. This one, Thunder Speaker, actually operates through the Dahan and uses these Dahan pieces to her advantage to help run these invaders off. But you might play a spirit that's really good at working kind of oceanside and good at drowning things and whatever, and trying to create fear that way. Fear is the main thing you're trying to generate in this game, along with just trying to run these guys off and destroy towns and cities, etc. While you do that, you're going to generate fear. You know, these settlers are going to get the hint, hopefully. There's this fear pool up here that as you generate fear, you'll slide it down. That'll represent you generating fear. And then eventually you'll get to, once their pool is clear, because you've generated enough fear, this will reset and you generate fear. Now you're going to be able to play this card. You'll flip it over and it allows you to do something which typically helps you get these settlers off your land. And then as you generate more and more fear, and this keeps resetting, you keep pulling cards off here, you're going to increase the terror level, which is going to help you, because right in the very beginning, you know, these settlers come and the terror level is 1. They're not very scared. You know, there's nothing going on. In order to win the game, you're going to have to remove every single explorer and town and city. But eventually, as you pull cards, you generate fear, it exposes new terror levels. And now you'll notice you don't have to scare off all the explorers anymore. You just need to wreck all of the towns and cities and get them off the board. And eventually, if you keep generating fear, well, you'll get down to terror level 3, which says all you got to do is make sure there's no cities on the board. You win. And if you keep going, man, if you're just freaking them out to no end, and you reveal this pre-printed thing, you automatically win. You just generated so much fear. They're out of here. And it doesn't matter what's on the board, you win. But the way you lose is, well, you start off with this nice healthy island, and I showed you this blight that first developed but this is going to change. They're going to be adding lots of stuff, and as they add more explorers and towns and cities, they're going to blight your land. You're going to have to take blight pieces off of this. Eventually, as you remove blight, you're going to have a blighted island. Maybe. I mean, you could win before that happens, but... And then with a blighted island, that's going to start off with a certain number of blight tokens. And as you remove all of those, if this card's ever empty, you lose. So how you keep track of the way the settlers try and invade your land is all done right here. It's kind of a conveyor belt fashion. So in the beginning, you'll flip this card over and it says, oh, they're going to explore in the jungle. So you'd come over here and you'd add, I mean, there's some rules to this, but you very generally add explorers to the land. Not too bad. But then this slides over And next round, you're going to flip this card over, and now you're going to have to, oh, okay, now there's some explorers now in the marsh or the mountains. So you might add an explorer here and here. But now they're going to build in, and I'm kind of doing this in reverse fashion. Actually, they build first and then they'd explore. But now they're going to build it in the jungle. So they're going to start adding towns. These explorers first started exploring here. Well, now they're like, yeah, this is a good place. Yeah, let's build. So then they build. And then eventually this slides over to here. And these cards just keep coming. The explorers the invaders just keep coming. And so now they started off exploring jungle, then they built in the jungle, now they're going to ravage the jungle. And that's where you're going to start adding blight tokens, and they're going to kill off your presence in the land, and they're going to kill off your friendly Dahan in the land if they happen to be in an area that's ravaged. And then this shifts over, and it just keeps going, like I said, in conveyor belt fashion. And if this ever runs out, you lose. But my experience has been that you lose well before this runs out if you're going to lose. So the way this is all kept track of is handy dandy. Well, you got some cool player aids here, but you also got this, which goes over how basically each round and what you have to do in each round. So first there's a spirit phase, which you'll use to develop your spirit and get your presence out there. Then what this says, this means you do your fast powers. So part of your spirit phase was to choose the powers that you're going to use, and you have this set of 4 very unique powers to your spirit. And any powers that you play, and what these powers do very generally is allow you to manipulate and destroy towns and destroy explorers, or shift them around. You can shift these guys around, which is very beneficial sometimes to have them off the jungle that they would have ravaged, in a previous round, but now you've shifted them off that land and now they're not going to ravage it. So you can manipulate things, and that's just one. I mean, these cards, they just do tons of stuff. But again, very generally, the cards that have red circles around them, these are your fast powers, and the cards that have this kind of blue-purple around them, those are your slow powers. So why that matters is because over here, first you do your growth phase, then all of your fast powers will trigger. Then there's this invader phase where that's where all this bad stuff happens that I was describing, where they ravage and build and explore. Then after that's done, then all your slow powers activate. So your slow powers are going to happen after all the bad guys do their stuff. Your fast powers are going to happen before all the bad guys do their stuff. So there's a lot of planning in this, as you can see what's coming down the line. And with your power cards, you're going to try and get ahead of that and keep them from just overrunning your island. And then time passes, and you're going to reset, and you get to potentially, I mean, not when time passes, but part of your spirit phase, you can certainly add to your power cards. You start off with these 4 generic ones. I mean, not generic, but they're unique to you. But over the course of time, you can get more powers, minor powers, major powers, and these cards, can start doing some pretty massive destruction-y stuff, or movement, moving them across the board stuff. Another thing worth mentioning, so it's kind of got a hand building element to it, but also has a cool little set building element to it as well, because as you play power cards, you'll notice on this left side there are these elements, and if you can play cards that have elements that correspond to your innate powers, these are little extra goodies, very unique to your spirit, that if certain elements show up in the powers you play and you match them up, you get to do extra goodies here. So you want to basically build your hand to enhance your innate powers, and so you have to be playing cards that expose elements that allow you to take these little extra actions. So very, very cool. That's one of the most fun parts of this game to me, is the hand building, which corresponds to the element set building, which allows you to do some extra goodies, which is really, you got to be able to do that stuff to win this game. So over here too, you got some extra stuff. You got you can add in scenarios, which change the game up a little bit. You can add in these adversaries, which basically represent the white pieces that come out. It gives them special different powers, so you can mix up the game there. Here's just extra pieces. Here's the extra land pieces you'd use with more players. Here's Here's a quick sneak peek of all the different spirits you can play. So there you have it, Spirit Island. Let's have a hear on what I'm thinking about this one. So there you have it. This is a good one. I really enjoyed. I love the theme of it. Spirit Island. It's sort of like a Settlers Catan in reverse. You know, you got, instead of out there trying to build roads in your towns and spread across the land, you're trying to beat all that back and take those settlers down as you represent the spirits, and you've got your tribe that has been, you know, working with the land and using it in a healthy manner that keeps it vibrant while they make a living, and now you've got these people out there trying to exploit it, and you're trying to beat them back. It's a cool theme. I think it's great. And the fact that you do it cooperatively is a fun thing too. The mechanics are fantastic. I like how they all play together. Some of my favorite ones are, I like the area control aspect of it, but my favorite part really is the hand building. As you gather and your spirit gathers strength from the powers that it draws, and how you can really focus on the set collecting aspect of it. That is getting powers that allow you to create sets of elements that boost your spirit's strength is awesome. I just love that. That's my favorite part of the whole thing, and it really, you know, my first 4 or 5 plays of this game, I think I won every time except for once. Then the next 5 times, I think I played this about 10 times, I think I won once. So it really, at first I was like, well, this is enjoyable, but it's kind of easy. And then, well then, you know, I just, I'm not sure what happened. So it keeps you on your toes, and that's good too. I mean, if it was too easy, well, you don't have to worry about too easy, because there's difficulty levels. You can ramp it up. So the mechanics solid. The variability is fantastic. You can play on different maps. There's actually a different side of the board. There's this normal side right here, but you can play on the other side, which kind of they say is best to play when you know the mechanics, and it's a little confusing looking. The graphics are, I mean, it's really easy to tell, you know, what's what on this side, not so easy on this side. So, but this side also has the goodies to be able to play the expansion part. Well, you can play the expansion on this too, but you got that combined with all the different powers and stuff that you can create. You got your scenarios, you got your adversaries, you got your 8 different spirits that you can play with, and really, I think the heart and soul of this game is playing 2 spirits together. When you're playing 2 spirits together, you can really interact. You can really use their strengths and compensate for each other's weaknesses. And I don't see, you can't really, you know, when you're playing one spirit, you've just got that strength and that weakness, and you got to figure out a way to beat the game. And that's cool. I like that. That's enough for me. But I think the game probably really shines at 2 players. If I had to guess, because once you get to 3 and, oh, heaven forbid, 4 players, I can't even, you know, it'd take a real solid set of gamers that know the game to pull that off without pulling off their hair. And apparently I played too many games of that nature, so I'm staying away from that. It's done some damage. And, but when you play solo with 2 boards, 2 spirits, it's the interplay, the interaction between those spirits is just, it's remarkable, and it really makes the game. But then it just gets, to me, it just gets too long. I don't, and especially you get mid game and further, there's so much out on the board to consider. You know, they're ramping up, they're spread everywhere, and you've got all your powers. I mean, in the beginning, you've got a hand of 4, and you can play maybe 1 or 2 cards, and you've got a little bit of energy, and you can really, you know, in the beginning of the game, you can make decisions pretty quickly. Not much going on the island, not much you can do anyway. But as you grow in strength and you get your presence out there, and you start being able to play more cards, and you have more energy to work with, and there's just tons of the invaders out on the board. Whew! Really adds to the thinkiness of the game and the length of the game. And so so I wish playing with 2 spirits was less. I mean, we're like 1.5 to 2 hours, at least for me. But playing with 1, it's that sweet spot of about an hour, and I like that. And so The rule book is odd. I didn't think it was particularly well put together. It had kind of sections, like a setup section. Well, yeah, it's gonna have a setup section, but then it was like, here's, well, let's see. Oh yeah, there was one thing I really liked about it. So first it has like sequence, game setup sequence, and then game concepts. And it was sort of, I was reading through it and I was like, wow, that would have been nice to know. I should have, just the order of stuff was odd. It was just oddly done. There was a lot of typos and stuff, which, I don't know, it didn't really bother me. It just sort of, it's such a beautiful rule book. I thought it was, going to be, and it's good. It's got good examples and stuff. It just looks great, all glossy and yummy looking. It has one of my favorite things that I've ever read in a rule book, though. It has a section called Whoops. Whoops. And in that section, it says, so long as everyone's having fun, it's all good. There's no need to try and rewind and fix things. Just take note of what the correct rule is and use it going forward. I love that. I mean, there's words to live by as a gamer, quite frankly. And but oddly enough, on the back of this too, great player aid. But on the bottom here, it's got a living fact. And cool that you can just zap it with your phone and boop, you're there. Not cool that you have to have it. I think. This game, the fact that you need it doesn't speak well for the game, in my opinion. It's just, there's not enough there. I mean, there's a lot of variability, but it's nothing like, say, Gloomhaven, which has a 100 scenarios. And then within those scenarios bring out just bunches of different types of monsters and how those monsters and the scenario rules. And then you got all your heroes and you're just cycling through as you're retiring heroes. There's just so much that you need a living fact. There's going to be questions. This one's, fairly, it's not static, but it's all contained, and there's not a tremendous amount of power that everything should link more clearly. And you need a living fact is a weakness of the game, in my opinion. So I wish it was a little tighter there. Solo parameters are fantastic. It's basically got a paragraph that tells you how to play solo versus multiplayer, and I love that. I like the fact that you don't have to remove this card, but then add this card, and then ignore this rule, but tweak this rule, just to play solo. It's just so straightforward. I love it. And the score type, it's got a win-lose condition, victory, defeat, but it's got a cool thing that you can actually score in victory or defeat and or both, so that you can sort of measure how well you did. I think that's a nice option. Doubt I'll ever use it, but it's there along with just a victory and defeat condition, which I like that. I think that's cool. Overall enjoyability on this one is it's high. It's a good one. I like this game, and I know I'm going to play it many more times, especially with the expansion. I have the expansion. I've been chomping at the bit to try it. I didn't want it to taint my review, so I didn't. I've just been staring at it. I've read through the rules a couple times. Maybe I'll touch on that after I've had a peek-see. But overall enjoyability on this, out of 10, I give it an 8. Just a solid solo game, and I see myself playing. As soon as this video's done, I'm playing with the expansion. I'm getting on it. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. I'm Board Game Rants. If you have any questions or concerns or anything, just let me know down below. I'm probably going to attach some links too about what about maybe a playthrough or two that I like that help me learn the game, and just some other content providers that I enjoy watching that might help you learn a little bit more about Spirit Island as well. Till next time, I will see you. Thank you for watching.